What's up, everybody? Bob here, and welcome to session number 4 of 5 of the Black Friday Transformational Sales Workshop. I'm going to have to get you guys a little playlist, I think, of our intro music here for the workshop. I've been getting lots of questions about it. So maybe I'll put together a little playlist so that you can take it from the workshop if you want. But I'm excited to be here, energized, ready to go. Tonight, we've got an incredible session for you. We're just going to keep the train moving here. And tonight, we're going to be continuing this conversation that we started earlier today on transformational conversations. If you had a chance to catch that earlier session, then I'm sure you realize already how important it is what I taught you earlier today. We talked about being more proactive and less transactional in the way that we have conversations with people, and how important that is in the world we live in today if you really want to be able to have success. But really, at the end of the day, what we're looking to do is you got to level up your skill set when it comes to conversations, right? It's always the two pieces. It's always your mindset and your skill set. But I think if you're honest with yourself, a lot of you have a lot of room for growth, let's just say, when it comes to the way that you have conversations. So tonight, we're going to be talking about your takeoff conversations, right? So what are some of the strategies and what are some of the things that we do over Black Friday weekend, right? We're building up this momentum in our runway. We're creating transformational content. We're using proactive outreach to start conversations. We're trying to start to build up that list of hot leads to give us momentum heading into the weekend. And so tonight we're going to kind of take the next step. A lot of you were asking already, what we taught with that authentic outreach strategy really resonated with you. But the natural next question was always, well, okay, but what happens next? And so we're going to teach you what happens next tonight. We're going to teach you the entire transformational conversation flow that we teach in Love, Serve, Grow. The authentic outreach is really just the first step for it. So we're also going to get a chance to hear from another one of our clients tonight, Alexis. I am really excited for Alexis to share her story with you. Alexis is relatively new to our Love, Serve, Grow program. She just became an Inner Circle coaching client of ours only 3 weeks ago, right? So she's brand new. She went through a similar type workshop just over a month ago, as many of you are, but she's a health coach. And one of the biggest areas where she was really struggling was conversations. You know, if you are in health and wellness, and especially if you're dealing with something like weight loss, conversations sometimes can be choppy waters to navigate. And so Alexis, putting into practice what she learned and what you're about to learn here tonight, has been able to transform her results in a very short period of time. So I can't wait for you to hear from her. But let's go ahead and let's get right into the presentation as we do. So bear with me one moment here and we will cue everything up. So I want to, before I get into the training for tonight, I'm not going to spend any time tonight going through the details of the special offer that we made earlier today for all of you. If you missed that session, you're going to want to make sure you go back and watch the recording, or we are going to be sending an email out tomorrow just so you know with all of the details. But we did make a special offer. You can see all the details there if you go to loveservegrow.com/free trial. We announced that we opened up some of our Inner Circle coaching spots. I know we've already had a number of you that have grabbed some of those spots that are available, and we're very excited for you to match you up with your coach. But we also offered a free trial to Love, Serve, Grow and a whole host of free gifts and bonuses, right? It's value stacking at its finest. And so just make sure you take some time to go check that out. That offer is going to expire midnight on Sunday. Tomorrow, I'll spend a little bit more time kind of going through some of that, and we'll answer questions tomorrow as well. But we're going to be talking tonight, as I said, we're going to be talking about takeoff conversations. And so this is, I think, one of the most powerful parts of this plan that I've been sharing with you is, I think, your experience of the actual day of Black Friday or whatever the promotional day is. I believe it's going to be very different for you this year because you're going to be so much more intentional about the things that you do leading up to the actual day. And the analogy that I want you to think about is the more conversations that you can have in the weeks leading up to Black Friday. I want to go back to that analogy that we've been using of an airplane. The longer your runway will be, and the easier it will be for you to navigate that successful takeoff that we're trying to help you with. But this is really where I think a lot of people go wrong. So I want to start off tonight. I want to teach you something that we teach in our Love, Serve, Grow program. It's called our transformational conversation flow. So what I'm about to share with you, you can apply. Let me come off share real quick because I'm going to need to make a switcheroo here in a second. But what I'm about to teach you, you can apply this to any kind of a conversation. You can apply it to messenger conversations, DMs, text conversations, live conversations by phone. It's a framework to help you start to do a better job of more confidently leading and navigating a sales conversation. See, one of the things that we've learned is the biggest reason why most people struggle with conversations is quite simply they do not have a plan. And so if you don't have a plan for your conversations, if you're not going into that conversation already being crystal clear on the questions that you want to ask and the things that you're looking to do, conversations are always going to feel like a really scary proposition, and they don't have to be that way. And so when we think about this step, the conversation itself, here's where I want your mindset to shift, right? This is one of the biggest differences between being transactional in the way you approach conversations and transformational. Transactional people, this is what they think. Let me see if they're interested. I want to share my business or my products with them. They're always focused on the end result of the conversation, and they attach themselves to it. And this is the reason why conversations always feel so scary, because we're constantly afraid of messing it up. But the other problem is we're very rarely actually ever present. We talk about transactional conversations as selling from pressure. And so what we have to learn how to do is we have to learn how to sell from presence. And so here's the big shift. A transformational approach to conversations. It's not that we don't want them to say yes. And it's, we want the result. We would like the result, but that's not our primary focus. A transformational conversation, here's the first thought that enters our mind. Let me find out if I can help. That's it. The goal of starting a conversation is to find out if this person actually has a need for what it is that you're trying to sell to them. Do they need help? And if that's the thought process, if that's your approach, I'm telling you, conversations will feel so much different to you. They'll be less scary. They'll be more fun. They'll be fulfilling. It's life-changing when you really start to understand the difference in these two different approaches. So what we're really looking to do is we're looking to, by having this conversation, we're looking to qualify if this person has a need, but we're also looking to assess if they're open. And what we refer to, we have a term, one of the early things that I was taught is when you're prospecting, you're always sorting people. And so one of the reasons why we have a conversation with someone is we're assessing what kind of a person they are. And so we used to talk about how what we really look for are red apples, right? Red apples are people that are willing to engage with you. They are friendly and cooperative, right? They're the ones that when you start a conversation with, it just feels effortless and easy. There's a back and forth. You're not pulling teeth. It's not a one-word answer and it turns into an interrogation, right? They want to play ball, but they also have a problem and they're looking for help. And so that's what we're looking to identify is the person that we're talking to. Do they fit this criteria? So let me actually go ahead and let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to draw this out for you here. We're going to get really high tech and fancy with my super skilled drawings here. So I'm going to show you how the transformational conversation flow works. So here's how the different pieces break down. So we have the connect phase. Oh, bear with me one sec. We have connect. We have qualify. And we have convert. Now, what we want you to do is I want you to start thinking of a conversation in different parts. There's actually different phases, and there are different things that you do inside of a conversation. So in the connect phase, here's the first step of the transformational conversation flow. We want to use authentic outreach. So we use authentic outreach. That is the strategy that we use to open up the conversation. Now, we could initiate this one of two ways. The easier way to do it is if we're using authentic outreach for somebody that is engaged with one of our posts. So what we teach our clients in Love, Serve, Grow is every single like or comment, no matter what post it is, you must be messaging those people. And so in our authentic outreach strategy that we teach, what we do is we basically give you a specific recommended, I don't like using the word scripts because we don't want to script you. We want to just give you conversation starters and language that you can adapt and make your own. But we have different approaches for each one. But you have to be willing to start the conversation to connect. This is the big problem, is a lot of you are waiting for people to come to you and they're not. And so you have to get into the habit of actually starting it. And by the way, if you do have the workbook, you'll see that there's a page with this blank shape. So you can kind of fill it in as we go along here. All right. And then so once we've connected, the next step is this. So after we've connected, what we want to do is we then want to ask. And so what we're asking is what we call a problem question. So a problem question is very simply, it's a question that is tied to a problem that you know you can help someone solve. So for example, let's say that you are, you sell essential oils. Let me use a different product than what I normally do. So you sell essential oils. And you know that one of the problems that you help people solve is getting better quality sleep. And so the problem is not getting restful sleep. So you then ask yourself, you say, what is a question that I could ask someone in a conversation that would lead or nudge? We're looking to lead the conversation in a direction that we know we can help, because the first thing we're looking to do is to identify a problem. And so we could ask, let's say, and think about what I taught you earlier, your pre-call planning. So maybe you know this person already, or you go and you look at their social media, and in your authentic outreach, you mention, hey, I see you just went on a trip, and you've got 3 kids, that must be pretty crazy for you. So you're kind of acknowledging something about them that will help you bridge over to where you want to go. And then so you might ask a question and you might just say this. So let me ask you this. I mean, how do you have the energy to get through the day? How do you find the energy to do it? What's your secret? I mean, how do you do it? So a question like that seems kind of just like a whatever question, but it's not. It's a problem question. See, because what I'm looking for is I'm looking to find how they respond. And if somebody responds back, and it could be in a funny way, or it could just be like, it's some days it's hard. Well, now we have a problem. And so that's the first step, is what we want to help you do. And this is one of the first things that we're going to do in Love, Serve, Grow with you. And if you have a coach, if you decide to join a coach, our coaches are going to walk you through this step by step. But we want to just ask a problem question. And now once we've asked a problem question and we've identified a problem, there's a couple of different strategies. What we want to do is, and you notice the way that this shape is, it's bigger in the middle because that's where the majority of your time in a conversation should be spent really connecting with people around their problems. And so there's a couple of different strategies that you can employ at this part. One of them is something that we call acknowledge, relate, and share. And so acknowledge, relate, and share might sound something like this. Someone might answer you. It's an indication of a problem. And so what you do is you acknowledge what they said. You relate to them. Is that something you've struggled with? Let them know. And you share a specific story or an example that can help take the conversation deeper. Now, in the share part, here's what we teach. You want to really highlight feelings. So I'm going to write feel, right? So where you really connect with people is not just around the problem, but it's around the way the problems make them feel. And so here's where we run into a problem, an issue, a challenge sometimes. A lot of our clients will say, well, I can't get my prospects to open up. Right? I can't get them to tell me about their problems. And so what I find is it's because you're not opening up. You want to get your prospects to be more vulnerable with you, you be more vulnerable. So in an acknowledge, relate, and share, you might have a busy mom that says something like that to you, and you are a busy mom, and you say, listen, I totally understand that. I've been there before. And as a matter of fact, I can remember when I was at that place in my life, I really felt guilty because I just didn't think I was being the best mom, and it was really a difficult time for me. Do you relate to that at all? So what I just did was I shared something openly and authentically as a way to create more connection in the conversation. So that's one of the strategies that you'll learn. Another strategy is something, and this is for those of you that are in the program, this one might not sound familiar, but this is one of the new strategies that we're actually working on that we're going to be teaching you pretty soon, is something called acknowledge, add value, and ask. So somebody could give you, share a problem with you. You acknowledge the problem. You actually share something with them in the conversation that you know or that's been helpful for you as a way to add value to them in that conversation. Maybe give them a tip, an advice, a resource, a tool, something. And then you nudge it by asking another problem question, which helps you dive even deeper into their struggles. And so going back to our essential oils example, if that mom says, yeah, it's hard getting through the day, and I acknowledge it and I say, hey, so one of the things that I have found is this, a specific tip. And then, hey, let me ask you this. Do you find, is it impacting your sleep? A lot of the clients that I work with in my business, or I know for me, my sleep was being really impacted. How's your sleep? And so that's just another way. And so here's what we're looking to do. What we're looking to do is this part of the conversation is really important, because here's where you really begin to connect with people and build trust. And so what will happen is you'll spend a couple of exchanges going back and forth around the problem, but then here's the next thing we want to do. We don't want to stay in the problem. We don't want to live in the problem. We want to get them out of the problem, because the whole point of us having the conversation is to really let them know that we can help them and that we have a solution. So what we then want to do is we want to ask them about their goals. And so at some point, really, all you do is you just transition and you ask what we call a goal question, where you say something like, hey, Susan, thank you so much for sharing this with me. Could I ask you a question? What's your goal in this area? What do you actually want? Have you thought about what you actually want? And so that becomes a really, really powerful question, because what I'm looking to do is this. See, there's a strategy here. See, what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to build something that we call the gap. I'm looking to build the gap. I want to spend some time connecting with her around her problems. And I want to then start to get her to think beyond the problems. There's a lot of value to get somebody to think about, what do I really want? What are my goals? And this is an important process, because what a lot of people do is this. A lot of people in our profession, they just sell the dream and they just sell the transformation and they just talk about how they can help people without ever connecting with them first around their problems and their challenges and taking the time to understand them. And when you talk about how you can help someone without taking the time to actually get to know them, it comes across as not caring. There was a dramatic pause there for a reason. That probably hurts for some of you to hear, because I know that's not where you are in your heart, but I want you to know this is how it comes across to prospects. We spend very little time actually taking the time to get to know them and understand them, and all we want to do is just talk about how we can help in our agenda. We've got to be better than that. And so that's the qualify phase. And then what we then do next is this. We move to what we call the transit, the convert phase. And so here's where we want to begin to find out, is this person a real potential prospect for me? Are they willing to take the next step? And here's how we do it, is we simply ask them, would you like some help? That's it. Would you like some help? Hey, Susan, thank you so much for sharing this with me. Could I ask you this? Would you like some help? Would you like some help in this area? Just ask the question. It is such a simple question, but it's such a powerful question. And what I will tell you is, if you have taken the time to actually do some of this, even a fraction of it, and you ask that question, you're going to get a favorable answer. And then what we do is we then transition. The final piece is something we call a transition. And we have a specific framework that we teach for a transition. And so a transition is basically you repeating back to them everything that they've told you and asking them if they would be open to taking a look at a potential solution. And so I might say, hey, Susan, let me ask you this. If I could help you with your energy and teach you how to get a better, and help you get a better night's sleep so that you could wake up in the day feeling refreshed and be the best mom that you can be, like you told me, would you be open to taking a look at something that I believe could help you? Would you be open to taking a look at something? Simple question. And I'm telling you, if you were to do that within the context of any form of that conversation, the answer almost every time is going to be yes, or it's going to be depends on what it is. Either way, that's a positive response. And then what we do is now we share our product, we share our business. But here's what's different. When I begin to share my business or my product, all I'm doing is talking about the way the product is going to help them based off of everything they've already told me. And listen, so what I'm sharing with you here, I recognize, and I'll just come off share for a moment. What I'm sharing with you here, some of you are probably thinking, man, this feels like a lot of work. Well, when you first see it, I get that. But when you actually master transformational conversations, when you really elevate your skills, this is second nature. You won't even think about it. But here's the challenge for most of you. And I'm just going to be honest. You're not going to be able to do this on your own. You won't do it on your own. And the reason why I say you won't do it on your own is because you'll get overwhelmed too easily and you'll start taking the action, but you won't have the feedback that you need to really be able to improve, and you're going to get discouraged and you're going to stop. You need to be in an environment where people that are living and breathing and wanting to accomplish the same thing. That's why I think Love, Serve, Grow is so important. And for those of you that are considering a coach, this is where a coach can become invaluable for you, looking at your conversations, digging into each one, helping you get better. But what I just shared with you right there, that is not an overnight fix. We spend months working with our clients, helping them build these skill sets. Now, you're going to hear from a client tonight that in 3 weeks is already starting to crush it by just making small little changes. So although we do have people that seek fast results as soon as they start doing things a little better, the expectation is you have to be willing to give it some time. But if you can, just think about the two things that we've talked about. If you can be just better with your content and better with your conversations, you have solved almost every single problem that you have in business. So I just want you to keep that in mind. So, all right, let's go back to the presentation here. And I'm getting I am reaching the limitations of my technical aptitude by trying to be able to transition from devices and presentations. I'm very proud of myself though, man. I got a lot going on over here, and I think overall, I think it's worked out pretty well so far. So let's go back to the presentation. There we go. All right. So we talked about the transformational conversation flow. Here's the big problem that most of you have when it comes to Black Friday. It looks like my slides are still loading up here, so bear with me 1 second there. So what it says, you'll have to take my word here. I'm sure we'll see it shortly. One of the biggest problems that people have on a day like Black Friday is they spend too much time. Let me try to reload this up here because that is like super annoying to me. They spend too much time trying to sell to the wrong people. Okay, I'm going to come off share here because I do not want to look at that. That will be very annoying to me. They spend too much time trying to sell to the wrong people. I'll let it do its thing here and then we'll come back to it. So think about it. One of the things that can be like the most overwhelming on a day like Black Friday is you don't know where you're going to make your sales. And so you spend all of this time messaging people and having conversations that go nowhere. And so the value here of being able to have your runway conversations, right? So I want you to imagine having the skill set of authentic outreach and learning how to implement that transformational conversation flow that we're sharing there with you so you can be better in that area. I want you to imagine how much more successful you will be at actually identifying people that have a real need for your stuff so that when Black Friday comes, all you have to do is reach back out to these people using our authentic outreach strategy and then leveraging the work that you did earlier. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about authentic outreach. And I want to focus on specifically, I want to focus on this hot leads list that we've been talking about that we want to try to help you build. So we're using authentic outreach during our runway. We are having transformational conversations. We're finding people that have problems that we know we can help. And we're setting up a scenario where we're going to be contacting them on Black Friday or whenever the sale or promotion is, basically letting them know, I'll reach back out to you then. And we'll do it at that point. Because if I know that there's going to be a sale on the product and we're only a week or two out, I'm not serving them by selling them at that moment. I want to set it up for when I know it's going to best benefit them. So we're using the authentic outreach. You have your hot leads list. Here's the big thing I want you to think about. The natural tendency for people is always to lead with the sale or promotion. You cannot lead with the sale or the promotion in the conversation. Even if you have already talked to somebody, you have established a need, you have determined they are a good fit for your business, you have done the hard work, you can't then slip back into the transactional trap of reaching out and saying, hey, here's the deal. Because you will still trigger sales resistance. Look, I get it. It's not fair. It's just the way it is. This is the way we are as human beings. We've been conditioned this way. So what we want to do is we want to lead with problem solving. Now, this is the reason why. This is the reason why taking the time to get the information that I just shared with you is so important. So what would leading with problem solving look like? Well, here's an example. If Susan was on my hot leads list, and I wanted to reach back out to her, it's Black Friday. Imagine having a list of 5, 10, 15, 20 people that are ready to buy from you. You've done all the work. How much better would you feel? How much more at ease would you feel? But I'm going to send Susan a message like this. I'm going to say, hey, Susan, just following up with you today as promised. I am really looking forward to helping you with problem. Lead with problem solving. Now, this also brings up a question that we get a lot. I'll get people that will say, I don't know how to follow up with someone. And I'll say, well, what's their problem? What are they struggling with? And they'll tell me, I say, lead with that. Lead with that. Hey, Susan, I was thinking of you today, and I was thinking of our conversation and what you said to me, and I really want to see you get that help with not having the accountability that you told me has been missing for you, that's held you back from your weight loss goals. Are you open to getting that help still? Lead with problem solving. When you lead with their problem, it doesn't come across like you're trying to sell to them. It comes across as caring and empathetic, like you're actually trying to help them. And so what happens is they are way more likely to respond. Their defenses go down, not up. And you create a space where you can have an authentic conversation with someone. So that's what I want you to do, is I want you to lead with problem solving. Now, here's another strategy. We touched on this strategy earlier. When I think about your takeoff, like the actual day of the sale or the promotion, I know how crazy it can be, right? You're posting the deals. Now, hopefully you're not going to do it like most people in a transactional way. For those of you that are in Love, Serve, Grow or joining us, we're going to do that bonus workshop next week. It's one of the bonuses you get. We're going to do a 90-minute session just on marketing and content strategies for the day of Black Friday. So giving you all these different ideas and things that you can do and showing you examples of content so you can say, okay, now I see how I can be better. But it gets crazy, right? You've got all these people that are interested, they want to buy. Just do one little thing different. Somebody says, hey, I saw that great deal. I want to get that product. You can do one of two things. You can send them the link and they can buy. And that's what most people will do. And listen, you'll make a sale, but you'll probably also fall into the challenge that most people do, which is that it will never be anything more than a one-time sale. How many times have you made sales on Black Friday and got excited, and then next month you were right back to where you started? It meant nothing to your business long-term. See, the why reframe is this. Don't send them the link until you ask them why they're interested in buying. I would love to share that with you. Could I ask you a question first? Why are you interested in this particular product? Just the why reframe is one word, one question, turn it back on them. Take it, at least make an effort to understand what they're going through as a way to set a better tone for doing business with you. Because here's what you don't realize. People value experience today. You look at every piece of research that's out there on consumer behavior. Shopify did a study, thousands of people that buy products on social media, and 7 out of 10 of those people that were surveyed said that the experience of buying from someone is as important to them today as the actual product itself. You want to know why people don't buy from you multiple times? Because you're not creating a memorable experience. Most people in our profession, and I'm not saying this is you, but I'm going to just be honest. Most people in our profession are nothing more than glorified order takers. That's all they are. They don't provide any value above and beyond. So how do we bring value? This is an example. Like, just take a second. They're used to just sending the link and buy, and you say, hey, why? And they're like, oh, well, that was a different response. They actually care about why I'm interested. Isn't that a novel idea? And so it's the little things, it's the little strategies. And so train yourself to do that. Never send your link. Somebody says, I'm interested in your business. Great. Could I ask why? Get yourself into that habit and watch what it starts to do for your business. Okay. So I am excited now because we are going to bring on a client of ours, Alexis. And I'm excited for you to talk to Alexis because she has an incredible story. As I mentioned to you earlier, in case you joined a little bit late, Alexis is a health coach. And so she came to us just over a month ago, I believe, participated in our last workshop. So like many of you, she was sitting in your seat 1 month ago. She joined Love, Serve, Grow with a free trial, just like we've offered to you today. And she's done some incredible things in 1 month. 1 week into joining Love, Serve, Grow, she realized that this is where she wants to be. She decided to join our coaching level of our membership, and she got placed with a one-on-one coach. and she's in 3 weeks, she's already seeing an incredible transformation. So I want to bring Alexis up with me so we can get a chance to chat with her. So bear with me 1 second and we will do that. Um, hey, Alexis, how are you?
Hey Bob, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Of course, it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
So you were sitting in this seat like a month ago, huh? With our last workshop, pretty much.
Yes, I was. And as you said, I started on a free trial, best free trial ever. And um, I did. I decided that I needed some more accountability. I just know myself. And so I saw a lot of value in the inner circle option of membership. And so I did enter as a free trial. I had a month or so of the regular $97 worth of membership, and it was great. And for my own self, I knew I needed a little bit more of a push to get where I wanted to be in my business. And so at that point, I was assigned my coach, Ashley, who's awesome. And we did work on conversations heavily
Mm,
and continue to do so. And it's just been amazing because I have her at my disposal, weekly and daily. And it's really ideal for me because I'm a mom. I run two businesses. I'm busy. I don't know if anybody else can relate to any of that. But I really stopped and took a look at how sadly transactional I had been in my conversations and even some of my content without even knowing it.
mm,
And I pride myself on not doing that because I run a nonprofit for traumatic event survivors. I'm all about connecting with people
mm.
on a genuine level. So, doing the audit that your program offers, when you go through the core training module, I was like, oh no, you know, it was kind of embarrassing. And I have a communications degree and everything. So it was very eye opening. And then so
Mm.
to have the core training that you offer everyone, that was amazing. And then you fold in the direct accountability of having a coach. I was really able to see really good results, as you mentioned. Specifically, there is a client that I just signed up last week who's starting this week, and
Awesome.
I do not know her. She lives in my town, but I don't know her. I've never met her, never seen her in real life. We're just social media friends. And I noticed she was starting to connect with me on some of my content, which I had changed because of the program, just tweaked it, not modified it completely, but
Yeah.
made some important changes. And she was kind of interacting with my stories. I engaged her further, started a very meaningful conversation. And unlike what we're taught, I've been relearning a lot of things as a health coach since
Yeah.
I've joined your program.
Well, let's talk about that.
But
Let's talk about that. That's a good, I want to, not to cut you off, but that's an important thing. So it sounds to me like one of the things you were struggling with is you had a little bit of a blind spot when it came to your content. What,
yes,
knowing what you know now, when you look back, what were some of the things that you were doing wrong that you needed to fix?
I have a marketing and PR background, so we're very much trained to speak to everyone.
Mm,
And that is so, so wrong, unfortunately. So when I started getting really specific about who my ideal client was, who my ideal coaching partner was, it really changed everything for me. I started seeing people engage on my posts that I haven't ever heard from.
mm,
They've never liked or commented anything before, and they started doing so because it was speaking so directly to their situation. And so that was a huge game changer for me, which led to me having more conversations with different people than I had before.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge piece of it
Awesome.
as well.
Is that where
Yeah,
this
it
new
was.
client is that where this new client of yours came from? Some of this new content that you've been creating?
Yes, I've
Awesome.
been in LSG altogether for a little over 2 months. And so over that time, I've really started to change, my content as we discussed.
Yep.
And she has been following that for, a little over a month now.
Yeah.
And I just reached out to her, and we had all the health coaches on here are going to go, oh my gosh, that's not what we're trained to do. That's been part of the hard part is I'm having to relearn certain things, and I'm very habitual and very format driven. And
Mm,
so once I'm taught something, I can do it that exact same way over and over and over again. So going back and
yeah.
relearning how to do something that I thought I was good at and knew how to do, it's been really difficult. But putting in those hours have really paid off because I had a 45-minute share call with this woman I didn't know. And she was ready to give me her card number before we got off the phone. Like I didn't even have to ask. So
Awesome.
it was amazing.
So that's incredible. Congratulations. So I love the
Thank you.
content piece. That is pretty consistent, Alexis, what we see. You start being more intentional and more transformational, you're going to see an increased engagement pretty quickly, and you're going to have these opportunities for easier conversations. But let's talk about conversations, okay? Because I know this can be sometimes a really scary, challenging thing for somebody that's a health coach that's talking about someone losing weight. Tell me how you felt about like a conversation that wasn't a layup, like, hey, I'm interested in your products. How did you feel about conversations before you joined Love Serve Grow?
Oh, so you mean like every conversation I've pretty much ever had? Yeah, none of them are layups, I'll tell you that. But they're getting so much easier now that I've been in the program. This client is actually a perfect example of that. All the health coaches on here could definitely relate if they've been in this scenario. But for example, I at first didn't know that she was a prospect because she has had bariatric surgery and she's lost 100 pounds
Mm,
through that process. So initially, you're saying, oh, she's lost 100 pounds, she's doing really well. But until you get in there and you really connect through problem, you don't realize that she's a perfect candidate for what we do because she cannot get off the last 10 pounds, and
mm,
she keeps slowly feeling old habits creep back on, and
mm,
she is absolutely adamant about not regaining the weight. So what she needed was accountability. And
mm.
you would have never assumed that if you had known that she was a bariatric surgery patient who lost 100 pounds, is living her best life. You would have assumed problem as you teach. And so I was able to break
Interesting.
past that.
Interesting. So at first glance, you might think, already lost a bunch of weight. Why would she need my program? But you took the time to do what we teach. You got on a call with her. You asked the questions. You were present. You learned, you understood, and you realized there is a need here. And I'm sure the reason why she was ready to give you her credit card at the end is because you took the time to actually get to know her and understand those things.
Yes. And as you know, the stars aligned on our call, we had a lot in common. Just ironically, I was able to really connect with her and she with me, and she was able to trust me and I her because we had developed a rapport through conversations. I mean, I'm talking, we've been talking for a month and a half or so before we even got on this phone call. So,
Mm,
that was the other thing is slowing down to speed up as you always teach. That is something that's not easy for a D driver personality.
yeah.
And I've had to slow down so that I can sell more effectively and help people more intentionally. And
Mm.
that's been something that I've really learned as well.
That's awesome. I love this. So how do you feel about your business today?
I feel very hopeful. I had really come into this program, and I keep using this term with my WAM group and with my coach, but I had really lost my mojo, which is not something that I do. I just don't do that. And so, high achiever, high performer, I'm just not used to that feeling, and it was very debilitating. And for a month or so, I really didn't work my business a whole lot. I just kind of maintained the clients that I had and did my client support accordingly. But I wasn't reaching out and having conversation. I was very disheartened with where my business was.
Mm,
And now I see things, 6 months ahead of time. I really see where my business is heading, and it's very exciting. And it's not, for me personally, it's not just exciting as a health coach being able to help people in this new way, so to speak. But when I really master the art of selling better as you teach it, I can also do that in my nonprofit arena too and
mm,
benefit that business as well. So for me, it was absolutely essential to master these skills, which I haven't done yet, but it's essential for both of my businesses to master the skill set. So that's
yeah,
why I'm here.
love it. One final question for you. What,
Yeah.
Alexis, what would you say somebody that's watching this right now that is considering doing coaching with us, considering taking the plunge? Maybe they're an existing member of Love Serve Grow like you were for a couple of months. Maybe it's somebody that's just looking at the program. Coaching is not a small investment. We know that. But what would you say to somebody that is thinking that this might be the direction they might want to go?
Well, first, as a health coach, I do have to say, as we teach our clients, I would reconcile your goals with your current reality. That's the most important first step.
Mm,
Because if you have goals of attaining certain things, but you're not working toward that, then those things don't match. So I would do that first. And then the next step, I would be telling that person or all of you, and whoever's watching this, if I had my Nike workout hat that I wear every morning, I would say just do it because it's dumb not to do it. I mean, like, especially if you're a very high performing person, like myself, if you're very driven and you've kind of waned in your business and lost your mojo like I did, and it's even hard for me to utter those words, but I can now that I'm on the other side of it. And I would say just do it. It is so worth it. You have an expert in your pocket,
mm,
telling you and guiding you and showing you. And there's so many phases to your coaching opportunity. There's acquiring clients, and that takes conversations and content. And then there's even pieces like onboarding and training with your team and all these different ways that you can master your business and scale accordingly. Like, why would you not want to do that?
mm.
And especially when no one else is doing it, the market is open for you to succeed. So I
Amen.
think it's a no brainer.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Alexis, I want to thank you for being here. Your story. This was an incredible conversation. I was kind of bouncing back and forth, keeping an eye on the chat, and people were loving what you were sharing today. So, thank you for sharing your story. I'm so happy and excited that you found your way into our community, and I'm even more excited at what the future holds for you. Only 1 month into your coaching, I can't imagine where you'll be at that 6 month mark. So thanks so much for taking the time and being here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Awesome. All right. I love it. Just do it. I couldn't have said it any better myself. But what did I teach you yesterday? Right. I'm not going to tell you how great it is. I'll let other people tell you how great it is. So, we're demonstrating to you these strategies. Hopefully you've picked up on that at this point. So, okay. So I wanted to be intentional and I wanted to leave a little bit of time tonight to do some questions. Okay. So we've got about 10 minutes before I take some questions. And so I want you to start putting your questions into the chat wherever you are. I'm not going to be able to see all of your names because the streaming software that I use doesn't allow me to do that. Some of you. So if I don't mention your name, apologize ahead of time. I can't see it. But before I do that, start pulling some questions up, I do want to just go back really quick for the benefit of any of you that joined a little bit late. So the free trial offer that we've been referring to, that Alexis was joined our program with, essentially, you can see all the details of that offer if you go to that link on the screen, loveservegrow.com/free trial. You'll see two options to enroll into the program. You'll see the option of joining our Inner Circle coaching, which is Alexis is a client of. Now, if you're an existing Love Serve Grow member, here's what I want you to do, because you'll be upgrading your membership. If you're interested in Inner Circle as an existing Love Serve Grow member, just comment interested in the video. And one of our coaches are manning the chats, and we're in here trying to answer questions and help. One of our coaches will actually get in touch with you and get you any information you might need and answer any questions that you have. So, but if you're watching in our free group and you're not in Love Serve Grow yet, you go to that link, you can see all the details. We have the coaching option, and then we have a free trial option where even with our free trial option, you're going to get access to our coaches. We do live calls every week, so you'll still get a chance to get some feedback, get access to all the training. And look, this is the only place you are going. This is the only place where you're going to learn how to do transformational content and transformational conversations. So if you know this is the way you want to run your business, then Love Serve Grow would be the next step for you. So, okay. But let's go ahead and let's take some questions here. I know this is generally a topic, conversations that we get lots and lots of kind of follow-up things. So let's go ahead and let's do some questions. And I'm going to try to find one here. All right, here's a good question. Let me pull this one up here. Hold on one sec. Let me do this. Bear with me. And that. And okay, so let's see if this works. Oh, no, that didn't work. Why didn't that not work? Okay, I'm just going to have to answer the questions then. I don't know how to do this. All right, I'm still learning. Anyway, okay. So the question is, do you mention your ideal person in all of your content? So really good question. Here's what we teach. Anytime you're talking about your products or you're creating product related content, I believe it is always a good idea to speak to a specific person. Now, I'm going to give you a slight variation here because there might be some situations where you're kind of teetering a bit on who that person is. And so I'm going to give you one common example that we see a lot of. We'll see somebody that will say, you know, I'm not sure if my person is a stay-at-home mom, right, that had a career but gave it up, or she's a busy working mom that kept the career. And so it's okay to have slight variations of who the person is, because you can speak to the different versions of who they are in the different pieces of content. But it is always a good idea whenever you're creating content that is related to your products or how you help to be super specific in the messaging. That's what Alexis did. She started doing that, and within a matter of months, she sees increased engagement. She's got conversations happening all over the place, and she's getting clients that she's never even talked to that are connecting with her and following her through her content. So that's an important thing. All right, let's take another question here. Orlinda, I actually use, somebody asked me about the streaming platform. So I use a service called Ecamm. It is specifically for a Mac. I've got a pretty extensive setup here. You can't see it. I wish I could show it to you somehow, but I am running two cameras at the same time, and there's a lot of stuff happening here that I'm using. This is a a little bit of an orchestration that I'm kind of trying to run here behind the scenes. And but Ecamm is the service that I use. It gives you a much higher quality stream. I can give you a very simple streaming platform. If you're looking for a elevated stream quality, would be StreamYard. StreamYard is probably the most user-friendly one that will give you, if you want to stream from a desktop, you can't stream right into Facebook. It's the worst quality stream. So you have to use some sort of a third-party streaming platform. All right, let's see here. All right, here's a good question. So I can't see the name. I apologize. If somebody asked, can we use these methods to reach out to inactive team members? You absolutely can. You know, one of the things that we teach is, and so tomorrow we're going to be talking about coaching and leading your team. So we're going to get into some leadership strategies in session 5. And you can absolutely do this. And you should be doing this with your team. You always lead with problem solving, even if you're reaching out to an existing team member, an older team member. Like, to me, an inactive team member is still just a prospect for my business. Think about that. Somebody that joined my team but isn't doing anything is still a prospect. So I ask myself, how would I treat them? Would I treat them any different as a prospect as I would somebody that's already signed up? See, the mistake most leaders make is they take somebody that has signed up, but they're not really in. We used to say, when you sign up, you're in the business. But when you get committed, the business is in you. And one of the mistakes that leaders make is they're very transactional in the way they lead, meaning that they treat people that are inactive or not working as if they're already committed, and they're not. And what they wind up doing is pushing them further away. And so we have to learn how to use the correct approach based off of where somebody is in their business. So, let's see. Next question here. So I see. All right, here's a question. I know we're talking about Black Friday, but are you assuming or encouraging us to work all day? Absolutely not. I mean, maybe you missed the whole lead into this workshop, but my proposal to you was this. What if you could, for the first time ever for some of you, what if you could actually enjoy some free time over Black Friday weekend? Instead of being glued to your phone 24/7, constantly stressed out and worried about where you're going to make sales. See, if you're intentional, that's the whole point of what I'm giving you. I'm giving you a plan, 21 days of building up, creating momentum, and already having a hot leads list of people that you can make sales and be successful, and do it in a fraction of the time as most of the transactional people out there that are going to be spamming news, spamming content out all week long and just messaging people and have very little to show for it. So I'm going to help you do more in less time. So the session tomorrow is at 12 Eastern. So we're going to be diving into the final piece of the puzzle, which is coaching and leadership. But remember, I've got that bonus training. So I've put together a very special training just for all of you. This will be the first time that I am delivering this training in public anywhere. And the title of the training is 3 Steps to Consistent $8,000 Months in Your Business. Now, you might hear that number and that might feel like that's in a different stratosphere from where you are. But what I'm telling you and what I have found, I've been doing this for a long time. I've worked with, at this point, tens of thousands of different people. I built my own network marketing business. I struggled. I succeeded. I've learned a lot. And so what I've done is I've actually put together a training where I'm going to do my best to present to you in its simplest form 3 things that, if you can do, will help you start to not only scale your income extremely fast, because as you know, we're not just about making money. We want to make money, but what if you could scale your income at the same time as scaling your impact and create more free time for yourself along the way? more income, more impact, and more free time to enjoy it. I'm going to share with you the formula that I have seen, that I've learned in my own business, and I have seen the very best that I've worked with. I see they do these things consistently. So if you're somebody that's watching this and you've been stuck somewhere in that $1,000 to $4,000 a month range, what I am going to teach you tomorrow could be life changing to your business. You have no idea how quickly you can go from 1,000 or 2,000 to consistent $8,000 months if you just have the right strategy and the right plan. So we're going to teach you that tomorrow. I'm going to do this special training for you. So it's going to be really exciting. I'm very much looking forward to it. All right. Well, listen, tomorrow I also promise we're going to leave plenty of time for questions as well. I know that you all have questions about what you've been learning. You're going to have questions about the program. I'm going to spend some more time talking about this special offer. We're going to dive into team. I'm going to do that special training for you. And you're going to get a chance to hear from one more of our clients. Her name is Courtney Spencer. And she is a Saint artist that has completely transformed her leadership and her onboarding and the way that she runs her team. So wait till you get a chance to hear from her tomorrow. So have a great night, everyone. Thanks for being here. Hope you got some value out of tonight's session. Go get some sleep and rest up because we saved the best for last for you tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.